You're listening to the Belmar Bites podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Belmar Bites podcast. Matt, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Scott, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of fun stuff going on. On a recent episode, we talked about just all the changes happening at Salesforce. They're now into their new year, and man, change continues. One of the things you and I have been talking about, sort of without the record button being hit, is just the changes happening within the partner program, and I guess just the benefit that our Hypercare offering that we're now uh, serving so many customers with is really so well aligned to some of the new changes happening within the partner program at Salesforce. So, why don't you kick us off just with a recap on what you've heard partner program wise, what's changed, what does a good partner look like in the eyes of Salesforce
Yeah.
in fiscal 27?
Yeah. Well, I'll preface with it's been through a lot of changes over the years. I think this most recent change is perhaps the most significant change that I've seen on the partner program in all of the time that I've been affiliated with Salesforce. So, just a bit of history. There used to be metal tiers, some silver, platinum, gold, that type of metal. And that was how a partner was kind of rated based off of certain metrics, project success, certifications, this, that, and the other thing. And then it evolved into, at least in the nonprofit side, like the impact partner program. And then it moved towards these mountain tiers, like a ridge, crest, base, summit, stuff like that. And that has been foregone by really just two tiers, select and summit. So I think the goal here is Salesforce is trying to simplify the partner program and simplify the decision-making process for clients and organizations to figure out who to work with as well. Because it was, let's just say it could have been a bit easier before in terms
Yeah.
of how it gets quantified and qualified. So that's number one. I think it's intended to be simpler, but also simpler for partners to be able to highlight their expertise and their success. And I think if I were to distill down the biggest change in the theme of all of these partner program changes and all of these things happening at Salesforce as well, it's customer success. It's customer success and making sure that people are on platform, are happy on platform, and that you're partnering with a partner that has that same type of goal. The days of we're going to get you live and then you're never going to hear from us again are over. Like that functional model of there's so much or there's so many organizations and business out there that we won't even follow up with you after 6 months. Like that's gone. We need to be taking care of our customers. Salesforce needs to be taking care of their customers. And I think this partner program is just to try to align with, can you find somebody who has that same type of ideal as well?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
You know what
that's
I
what I
find so
think.
interesting, and thanks for just unpacking, what you're hearing, and it's very true. I think this is maybe one of the biggest changes ever that I've seen in the 15 years we've been a partner, to the like the actual partner ecosystem in terms of how Salesforce evaluates partners, and maybe more importantly, how they recommend partners to their customers. But I find the most recent version of the partner program now that is very focused on customer success. Uh, I mean, we've always been focused on customer success. Have always done a great job showcasing, highlighting the success their customers are having. We've obviously been very focused on that. We've, for many many years, we've sold as part of our implementation. We've sold a support. I guess we traditionally have called it a kind of an off ramp. It's like, hey, listen, we're going to implement a solution. We're going to enable you, the customer, to take over, um, and we'll provide you with a very gradual off ramp to take you from going live through to handing over the full reins of the solution. And I think for as I think back on that, I think in part we did that because Salesforce was selling, I guess I would call it a competitive product to what we could offer, and that was their uh, Premier Success. And it's kind of funny because, I mean, they still sell Premier Success, and it's still, super valuable to customers. But now it's all about the partner, with working with the AE after go live to ensure that that customer is not only hugely successful, but that they see a path to increasing their adoption of Salesforce. And so I guess I just find it interesting in that Salesforce is now asking the partner community to take responsibility for ensuring partners are sorry, customers are successful 6 months, a year, 18 months, 24 months, and beyond after they go live. And that was never the focus. It was always, I guess, somewhat implied. It was always, I mean, that's how we operated. But I think for organizations or competitors of ours that were just very much focused on stamping out the next implementation, this change is going to be pretty significant, and I'm excited because like we've been doing this now for a long time and we're ready. So
Yeah, I echo that sentiment of just the excitement. This is our bread and butter. This is our sweet spot. So being able to have the piping and the infrastructure and the vision from Salesforce to kind of mirror that as well. I think it produces the best possible net outcome and best possible experience for a customer as well. So I'm excited. I mean, this goes beyond customer success. So many different people have different definitions, but yes, there's the tangible like measurement of how successful they are on the platform. But I also love just the relationship element. Like, how do you plug into an organization? I mean, we serve a big portion of our customer base is the impact sector. So understanding the things that keep them up at night, the challenges that they're facing, partnering with them, going to fundraisers, going to volunteer events, like all of those things contribute in my mind to customer success. And they're things that I know you and I both love to do, as well as like how do we peel beyond the technology and actually show up for these organizations that we're working with as well. So I'm really excited about that because then we get to see boots on the ground how these organizations, the nonprofits, the for-profits, organizations that we serve, how they actually function day to day as well, and being able to be there with them. So I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah, yeah. Um, hey, so I've got a question for you. So, like, how do you think our Hypercare, and I guess maybe just to frame Hypercare is a managed service offering that we uh, provide to customers. It helps them, post go live. It helps them, fully adopt and just, more so just continually improve. I think for us, it's all about continual improvement. When you go live, that's not the finish line. That's actually the starting line. And it's 6 months, a year, 24 months, 36 months after you initially went live with Salesforce. Like, is this tool irreplaceable? And if that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve with our customers. And so, I guess as you think about hypercare and how it fits into this next, uh, I guess, season that we're in with Salesforce, which is the agentic season. Their product is called Agent Force. It is, from I guess our experience over the last couple of years, we've had customers adopt, but it has not been 90% of our customers who have adopted at this point. So like we're on that curve. People are now
Mhm.
asking for it. We're implementing. We're supporting. How do you see hypercare, really fitting into this Agent Force era?
Yeah, I think the traditional support model in which, I mean, let's talk 3, 5, 10 years ago, has been something's broken, help us fix it. It's this break fix. It's very defensive. It is not getting ahead of the curve. I think the functional kind of paradigm shift for how we excel as a partner with the advent of Agent Force is we move from being an order taker to an orchestrator. We move from somebody who just does what we're told and execute and fix things and maintain and administer things to helping how do we maximize this function here? How do we optimize this function here? We're orchestrating, which in my mind is significantly higher value than just being an order taker. Yes, I mean, it's also stickier as well, but it's also just you can deliver so much more value for we measure our time based off of hours. You can just deliver so much more value with 1 hour being an orchestrator versus an order taker. So that's one reason that I see how this all blends well together. But I think also just trend wise, why we're seeing such a big uptick in our hypercare offering is this is the best, it creates the most flexibility for an organization. Traditional models like your staff augmentation or just traditional managed services or support, yes, they're necessary and it's good to have a backup there. But because of its flexible deployment, it's a slide up, slide down model. It's a very low commitment model as well. I think that's why we've seen it take off very, very well, is because whenever you have any type of volatility, be it I mean, insert any type of volatility, truly. Whenever you have things that slide up, slide down, you need a model that can mirror that as well. So I think I kind of equate it to, I'm looking on my desk here and I've not shown you this, but I've got a model car, a model Bronco sitting on my desk here, and I'm looking at the tires on this thing. I kind of think of our hypercare as the shocks on the car, like being able to adapt as well while keeping you moving forward.
Yeah.
Not that that's just what shocks do, but like that, trying to kind of visualize how hypercare is meeting clients where they're at right now, but more importantly, how do they get to the next point? How do they scale and excel and optimize as well?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's an interesting analogy. I mean, I think of shocks as taking the vibration out of, the forward motion that you got, and in every organization, there's turbulence and vibration, and we can really be that buffer to help support these organizations. Um, I guess as you were sharing your thoughts on hypercare, I was thinking back to not that many years ago when we were implementing Salesforce, and customers were looking for a lift and shift. Hey, take me out of Razor's Edge, take me out of uh, some other tool, move me into Salesforce. And they were doing it because of all the benefits that Salesforce was providing. But once we did that, once we moved them out of say Razor's Edge into Salesforce, got them trained, got everything working properly, the 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 opportunity for them to, I guess, advance and continue to scale their capabilities. I mean, it existed, but I kind of look at it as it existed more adjacently. So we've got, we're going back a few years ago, but we've got NPSP set up. Well, we could keep building on top of NPSP, but in many cases, customers are getting more value from going adjacent to, hey, I'm going to implement, again, using an older term here, Pardot or Marketing Cloud, or I'm going to go adjacent the other direction and go with Experience Cloud, and invite my stakeholders into Salesforce, and we can interact on projects, opportunities, things through a Salesforce interface. And those are the types of opportunities, and I mean those still exist for us today. But I think what's really interesting now is, I mean, I think it's actually much less difficult of a sale to go for us to go to a customer and say, "Hey, listen, we can help you, and we can essentially integrate with you and become part of your team, either in whole or in part, of
Mhm.
fractional, or bring one or two of our resources in." Uh, to just work with your team on an ongoing basis, and as you said, Matt, scale up, scale down as needed. I think the appetite for that now is really high, and I think in part that's why we're seeing such an uptick here in the number of contracts that we're signing with customers to support them. And I look at it as, I mean, going in and doing the block and tackle, break fix type
Mhm.
stuff. While that in the past has been important, it's low value, and, I think we've been able to create value around it. We've been able to help customers lower their cost,
Mhm.
and so, for anybody who is listening, if you're on an older data model, of Salesforce, say you're on NPSP and you can't take advantage of all of these, new capabilities that exist with Agentforce as of yet, uh, that's fine. We can still help support you and potentially even help drive down your cost of your administration. But like the real value becomes when we're working, with at that executive layer, supporting them, helping them sort of see around the corner what's coming next and how they can just optimize their organization. On a previous pod, we talked about just some of the force multiplier that comes with Agent Force. Um, if the example I was using is a fundraising team, if that team can do 10% more, and you've got 10 people, well, 10% over the course of years is now an 11th
Yeah,
fundraiser on your
makes a
team,
difference.
and like that is just like we're not only reducing cost, we're reducing cost and we're adding value, significant upside value, and I mean, 10% I think is a very conservative metric in terms of what we can accomplish within these orgs. So, yeah, it's an exciting time, and I'm really happy. I'm really grateful, to our organization that we've been working on this now for years. We've got, as you shared earlier, all the plumbing is in place, and it's just really scaling the execution of this.
Yeah, and I like that you've quantified, like, even if we can achieve 10% more, I mean, that's just scratching the surface too. I mean, there's a common phrase, I think it's Warren Buffett who said this, like, "Time in the market is better than timing the market." Now, use that 10%, but scale that over a 5, 10, 15-year time horizon, and think about the human toll that that would have had, or the impact. Like, that 10% greater expectation would have normally been pushed onto an individual to achieve that said goal. But think about just that. That stacks, it compounds over the years, how much, be it time that you're saving, but also how much more you're generating while not overloading your team. So, yes, like the 10% year over year, fantastic. But I think of it as like, think about the bigger picture here. And one of the biggest common challenges that I'd heard over the last handful of years was retention from
Yep.
for nonprofit organizations. People are frustrated. They're stuck using tools. They're not being set up for success. Think about the retention. They're doing more things that are counter to why they actually joined this nonprofit organization in the first place, which was mission driven, because they have all of this necessary admin that they have to do. So just
Yep.
think about that human capital kind of perspective as well. I want to pose this question to you because I know we talk a lot about hypercare a lot, but it's good to reframe it as well. But are you seeing in your conversations, and I'm wondering if you can point out a couple commonalities, like what are the best organizations or who's the best fit for our hypercare offering as it stands today? What does that ideal organization look like?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. I would say, like, speaking to, a CEO or executive director, if you're really wanting to transform your organization, and you're struggling, maybe costs, are you're finding costs going up, retaining employees, finding, replacements to those employees is challenging. We certainly with our hypercare, it creates just this long-term continuity opportunity. So I don't know that there's a y- I can't really describe the characteristics of that organization short of uh, you know people who are thinking progressively, and they really just want stability, and they are looking to remove as much or variability, I guess is the word I was trying to use or say there, to just their day to day,
Mhm.
and so if I reflect back on who's currently using hypercare, I mean it's a pretty healthy cross section of our customer base, and from large organizations to small to some that are just using they've kind of got a single use case for Salesforce. Perhaps it's just fundraising, or others are, fundraising programs, and more. And so it really is it's designed to fit any organization. And but there's got to be an appetite for we want to do better. We want to move faster. We just want less friction. And friction, I think is friction's a word I'm using a lot lately. It's something that just, to me, describes those things that just inhibit speed. And so there's friction is good in some cases, but in a business context, things slowing down your teams, things slowing down your customers, things that are just slowing down your ability to go and execute are generally not good. And by having us partnered with you, we just remove that friction and we enable you to move it at high speed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that you bring up friction. I'm, uh, I'm in the process of taking my winter tires off, and oh boy, friction that wears down, and traction. Sure, it's great in the moment, but it really wears down the longevity. So I'm gonna make a lot of car references here today, Scott, because I've got a little model car sitting on my desk here from a friend. So um, yeah, that's interesting. And maybe if I can just chime in, like what I've seen, which organizations and trend wise, who's reaching out for hypercare right now. I'm getting a lot of from a client perspective, our admin is overloaded. Our admin
Yeah.
cannot handle, and they're just up to their eyeballs in terms of just they can't get ahead of anything. So even being able to be a secondary sounding board, that's how some organizations I've seen. But whereas some other organizations, it's we need help. We know that we want to be strategic, but we don't have the capacity or capability or just bandwidth right now to be able to punch to that level. So
Yep.
we need you to help us still satisfy the strategic side. Tell us what we don't know. Tell us how this can be done better. It's almost like an external lens or external perspective. I've seen a lot of that as well. So a bit of just like I'm so overloaded, and then also the like we want to do this, but we can't even wrap our head around that piece right now because we're so overloaded with this. Push us back. This is the internal admin. Push us back the stuff that it's easy to do, and you take care of the get ahead, like the offense stuff as well. It's like a forward for hire kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like you were sitting in a meeting I was having earlier this week with a leader in an organization, and we were talking about this exact topic. They've got a internal team that manage Salesforce. They have multiple admins, uh, and the day to day support they're handling. But I think the frustration this individual was expressing to me was just their kind of inability to sort of step outside of the day to day and think strategically. And my response was, if you're trained as an admin, if your experience set is that of an admin, and if the volume of work that team is doing is such that they just don't have the bandwidth, I mean, that's just unfortunately, what you should expect. And I know the folks on this admin team. They're great people, and I think they all have like really good intentions. They want to deliver, and they want to execute well for the organization, but they've just like they're just overwhelmed. And so um, we're having a conversation about how our current hypercare offering can be expanded within the organization to just help from a strategic perspective. And I think about there at each level in the organization, the interests in what hypercare can offer are differ.
Yeah.
So at that admin level, it's that all the spillover. It's like I'm either from a purely a capacity perspective, I need help. Also from a capability, there's certain things I just don't yet know, and I want to learn them, but I just don't have the bandwidth to go and
Yeah.
figure that out. And I need support from a team who knows how to do it. And then we go up to that, managerial level. Uh, I need reliable data. I need the system to be operating to in the best interest of the organization. I need it to be secure. I need it to just not fail on me. And then we've got the executive level who are they're looking down the road. They've got a strategic plan that they're being held accountable to, and they're looking for ways to just better execute org wide. And so hypercare really works up and down the organization. And it reminds me, I was on a call. We got I mean, we love getting referrals, and we love getting leads really from any source. But
Yeah.
when they come from a customer, I mean, that's just the ultimate in sort of validation that the work
Yeah.
that we're doing
Totally.
is great. And as a Salesforce partner, we work with a lot of organizations and a lot of different personality types, and while we strive to ensure every single customer has an absolutely incredible experience, um, we don't bat 1,000. There's always challenges, and we work those out and we get through those. But in this particular case, we got referred from just a lovely customer. We just have such a great relationship with them, and so I got on a call this week with this prospective customer, and uh, they were describing to me they have this legacy database, this database that was custom built. They said about 15 years ago. They didn't even know when it was built because they hadn't been in New York that long, but they'd heard it's been around for about 15 years. And this individual was quite concerned because they had a new person starting,
Mhm.
uh, within a couple of days, and they were going to have to walk this younger person who was brand new to this role through this legacy database that was described as a piece of junk. Many of the buttons on the app didn't work. It was just very very confusing how to use it, and so as we were working through that conversation, I was talking about just this ongoing improvement. Just if and when you go to Salesforce, you're going to find that right out of the box, just the capabilities are significantly different. But you have to adopt a mindset and really a culture of continual improvement. And this resonated with this individual because that was their background, and they had entered this org uh, that I guess historically had not been thinking that way. But it's exciting to see these leaders that just want to make change happen, and they're they're brave. They go for it. They take risks, and we're there with them every step of the way. So
Yeah. Oh, that's an awesome, and could not agree more about just it's the ultimate stamp of approval, and validation when a customer, brings you in. So that was great to hear.
cool, Matt. I think we're going to wrap on that. Thanks for doing this, and thanks everybody for listening. And we hope you join us on an upcoming podcast.
Sounds good. Thanks, Scott.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bites, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.